The House Democrats, and President Trump's first impeachment is now the executive chair of the State Democracy Defenders Fund, who have a number of pending legal motions against the Trump administration. And just this afternoon, according to this posting by Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, Norm's security clearance was revoked per directive of the president. I'm also joined by Erin Mulvaney with the Wall Street Journal, whose latest piece is titled "Fear of Trump Has Elite Law Firms in Retreat." So, Erin, can you just walk us through your reporting? What are attorneys at these firms saying, probably not on the record, but about what's going on?
I think chill is definitely the right word that you had at the top of the segment. I think there's just a fear of any kind of retaliation, maybe even not of what happened to the first two law firms that you mentioned. They're fearful of losing clients. They're fearful of retaliation against their clients.
Because other clients who don't have a case against the president or some company that has this firm representing them, they might be fearful that, well, the president will go after this company because their attorneys he doesn't like.
Yeah, exactly. I think that, and we're also talking about these types of firms are the biggest, the most elite. They represent the biggest companies in the world too. So they go hand in hand. And I think that's why it's a bit alarming that, you know, law firms can step back. Everyone can get a lawyer of any kind. And yeah, and to some extent they do choose their clients. Well, they do choose their clients, but it's a matter of, but they're just doing their job. That's what the lawyers would say. But the idea that Trump is willing and will retaliate against them if there's a perceived notion that they're coming after him or enemies, I think that's what's alarming, even the biggest firms out there.
And Norm, I mean, you're involved in multiple cases challenging the administration. We mentioned your security clearance getting pulled. But by the way, does anyone notify you, or did you just hear that through Tulsi Gabbard's, announcement?
My phone started blowing up. Look at Tulsi Gabbard's tweet. And Anderson, President Trump had said he was going to do this several weeks ago, right after we secured a court order in one of our cases at Democracy Defenders, protecting thousands of FBI agents from retaliation for working on January 6 cases. So you really have to see this as a kind of a backhanded compliment. We're working on over a dozen cases, and we've gotten those orders in many of the cases in response to illegal behavior by the administration. And this is more retaliation. Plenty of lawyers are going to stand up to it.
And Erin, in terms of the retaliation, it's revoking security clearances. What else?
There are also firms that work with big companies that have government contracts, and Trump is asking to investigate those government contracts and potentially revoke them. Which
wow, so not related to the case they're working on, just any government contract this firm may have.
Right. I mean, if you read the executive orders, it's very clear that the firms are being targeted, not the work they're doing necessarily. Even the one about Jack Smith is about the firm being the problem. Wow. And the second was much more sweeping. It called for investigations into DEI practices, revoking of government contracts. You mentioned access to federal buildings. It's written a little broadly, so it's not clear if that means federal courthouses. And the second law firm, Perkins Coie, has said that they see it as patently unlawful, the move, and they will challenge.
And Norm, I mean, for you, this feels like, I mean, administrations have had contentious relationships, with law firms in the past, but this feels like they're pulling levers which have not been pulled before.
Anderson, it's illegal. It's a violation of the Constitution. The first time they try to keep me out of a courthouse will be right in front of a judge within minutes. I guarantee you that judge will have me in the courthouse. You have to understand it in a pattern, Anderson. Donald Trump said he was going to be a dictator on day one. The essence of dictatorship is breaking the law, and these unconstitutional
what's illegal
actions,
about this?
Well, it violates First Amendment, freedom of speech. There's no due process at all. It cuts off my client's right to counsel if I need, and I do, security clearances to represent clients. This won't hold up in court, just like so many others of Donald Trump's actions. Illegal spending freezes, Mr. Elon Musk and Doge pawing over personal data, the firing of those FBI agents. I'll be in court this week on an illegal firing of tens of thousands of probationary employees. We've gotten order after order from the courts, myself and our partners, cutting that off. Yes, you need lawyers and law firms to bring those cases, but the retaliation won't work. Perkins Coie got one of the best firms in the country to represent them. And I think you're going to see some law firms will be scared, but many attorneys are going to take this as a backhanded compliment. Anderson, you know what? I'm doubling down, and so are my colleagues at Democracy Defenders.
I heard a number of firms turn down, I think, Perkins Coie initially, but they do have a very good law firm now representing them. Ambassador Norm Eisen, appreciate it. Erin Mulvaney as well. Thanks so much. Coming up, Ronald Reagan's daughter on her father's aspirations.